sharing this gorgeous movie with us.
Thanks for having us.
Daniel, this is your first feature directing effort in more than 20 years. So talk to us about coming back to directing a film and with this story in particular. What drew you to this one to return to it?
I've been doing a lot of work in series for years, which I found very fulfilling and exciting. And then Peter Spears, our producer, who's here with us tonight, approached me, and we decided that we wanted to try to find a film to make. And I was really interested in a particular kind of love story. And we passed books back and forth. Finally, Shannon Kuppel's book came our way, and we both fell in love with it, and we're really compelled to make it. So, yeah, it's been like I feel like I kind of took all of this great training that I had with a lot of incredible writers and showrunners and put it onto the test in this film.
It's so gorgeously done, and you're working, I think, in a lot of great American cinematic traditions. There's noir, there's melodrama. What were some of your reference points in taking this adaptation and very much making it your own?
I think we followed the novel. The novel's a very interior book. And Shannon is kind of drawing from a lot of queer literature. There's a bit of Corvidal, there's a bit of On the Road, there's a lot of things and a bit of noir. And the thing that we realized as we adapted it was that we had to give these people a voice. It's a very internal book. And so we had to give them a voice and dramatize everything. And that was sort of our biggest challenge. And then all of the genres that she was like suggesting, I wanted to try to subvert them. There's dialogue that sounds like noir, there's the gambling trope, there's the love triangle, and I just tried to make them more accessible and not lean so much into the pastiche of like a 1950s film. We drew, rather than from films, we drew from documentary photography with the cinematographer as our inspiration.
This was shot by Lou Montpellier, the great cinematographer of Women Talking, did such a beautiful job with it. Will, Sasha, before we talk about your characters, I'm just curious, really what you thought of this story and the script when you first read it. What struck you about it? What made you want to be a part of it?
You were getting way first.
Feels like Sasha has to go first.
I love Will Poulter, guys. I'm so sorry.
I love you.
Bryce wrote the most beautiful script. The story goes that I got sides for this film's audition, and I loved it, but I didn't know if I was the right person for it. And I didn't read the script because if I read the script, I thought I'm gonna fall in love, and if I don't get this, I'm gonna be sad. So I kind of left it alone. I sent my tape, and then he came back, and I had a chemistry read with Daisy over Zoom, and I was like, okay, I have to read the script now. And then I fell in love with it, and I loved meeting Dan. We had coffee, and it was really sweet, and I just knew that I had to sign on to the project.
How about you, Will?
Yeah, similar in the sense that I also fell in love with Bryce Cass's script, which I thought was such a beautiful adaptation of the book and such a wonderful, complex, well-balanced and sort of humanizing story. And then I was a fan of Dan's work as well, and knew kind of what a beautiful job he would do bringing that to life, and that partnership between Bryce and Dan, sort of like two good to turn down, some wonderful people already attached, and so it kind of became a very, very easy yes, and I feel very grateful to have a space in the film, honestly.
I'm curious, in terms of Julius and Muriel to start, the connection between these characters, kind of as it is in the book, is so enigmatic and complicated and very gradually teased out. If you could maybe talk about how you drew that out and also how you cast these parts so beautifully with Jacob and Daisy and found that through them.
Yeah, honestly, it was the relationship between Muriel and Julius that made me want to adapt this, because I hadn't seen a love story like this before. Love story is only as good as the restraining forces that are keeping the people apart. And I feel like these two people come together, they immediately see each other, you think it's romantic, but then you start to realize that it has more dimension to it, and they really change the direction of each other's lives. I think she's fascinated and in love with the idea of his independence and freedom, and he really wants to belong somewhere, and he's trying to make a home with Henry. So, we talked a lot about how would we make it feel like they're thinking about each other and influencing each other when they really have very little screen time together. So I just thought the idea of a love story between a gay man and a queer woman was very interesting. And so I hope that comes across as sort of like the underpinning of the piece. And they just had such great chemistry that I just had confidence in just, watching go.
Yeah.